But just to piggyback on you mentioning codependency, I feel like that is definitely something that needs to be talked about more and is not often talked about. I think codependency, those attachments dictate how you show up for yourself and how you show up for others. So it's so important to be attentive to yourself, in those moments or in certain patterns where it's either benefiting you or it comes across as you not meeting your needs and your loved ones' needs, or just, there's I feel like life at the end of the day is for certain balance. And um codependency, from me personally, is something that um I felt like I struggled with. So I definitely resonated with you even mentioning that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, that's something that I've been discovering on my own, and seeing how that contributes to how I show up in certain situations. And it causes you to reevaluate how to better those outcomes so that you can still maintain your well-being, but also meet your goals. I feel like as healthcare professionals and as students, and in the climate that we're in, um, it's just so common for us to fall into, okay, we have to be that overachiever and we constantly have to um, overextend ourselves to get that recognition that we want in those spaces. And it's so important to not only, it's great to have your goals, but to keep in mind of, where you are, where's your mental state as you are pursuing those things. So I love that you mentioned that. But moving on, so how can individuals prioritize their physical and mental health in their daily routines? You mentioned how you are an athlete and that you're very active. So what is your approach to prioritizing physical and mental health into your daily routine?
Okay. So for me, I love having a strong start to my day as well as a strong end to my day.
Mhm.
So what that looks like is for me waking up early, because I think the morning hours are very underrated for
Yeah.
not only productivity, but really for just having a mindful start to being able to control the direction of your day
Mhm.
and be creative and express and set the direction before things kind of come at you. Yes, in the morning, that's kind of what it looks like ideally. And if possible, to make it more tangible, I would recommend waking up at least 1 hour before the first thing that you have on your schedule, whether that's exercising or your first meeting, or let's say if you typically start your day at 9 or 8, waking up at least an hour before that and easing into your day so that you can kind of have that confidence, that ease, that you are kind of the captain of your ship, right?
Yeah.
And then usually that sets the tone so that as you go throughout the day, you have a little bit more clarity, a little bit more focus, as opposed to if you had started your day scrolling through Instagram or scrolling through Twitter, and then whatever news is coming at you, right? First thing, sometimes you get fixated on that. And sometimes your brain gets into this pattern of jumping from one thing to another,
Mhm.
which might not be ideal if you're trying to get certain things done. Then towards the end of the day, this is something that I'm still working on, is sticking to a good wind down routine, but sleep is so essential for us, right? In terms of helping us regulate our emotions, processing memories for the day, and then just generally feeling energized. And if we work out, then that's when our muscles heal and get stronger, right? So if we don't prioritize winding down so that we set ourselves up for a great night's sleep, then that can also be detrimental and then lead you into a rough start to your next morning, right? So
Mm.
for me, in an ideal world, then I would shut down electronics an hour before I'm trying to go to sleep, and then just do whatever activities are kind of relaxing to me. So that might be tidying up my space, that might be helping my mom get ready for bed. A hot shower is usually is definitely part of that. And then sometimes reading and journaling and recapping my day so that, again, when I go to bed, I'm kind of directing where I want my mind to focus, what I want to process, as opposed to whatever social media sends to me or tells me I should be paying attention to.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think having that strong start to your morning and a solid end to your day, when you have both of those, then everything else in between kind of falls in line.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. And I love how you mentioned, I felt like it somewhat summarized just overstimulation. I feel like as students and we're balancing, there's students who are not only balancing their careers and jobs, but there's some students who are parents and they have outside responsibilities. They're, caretakers, they have other responsibilities to tend to. So it's so often that we kind of busy our mind with things and it's difficult to know when to wind down or to kind of give us ourselves that additional time to better jumpstart our day. And
Right.
even personally, I've as a student, I feel like I've always had like a chaotic schedule. I feel like you always get so much things thrown at you. There's so many deadlines that you have to meet. And balancing so many things at once, it's so easy to kind of neglect, like, oh, like you feel like your only time to yourself is at night. So you tend to stay up later and
Yeah.
ends up hindering how you show up the next day, or
Right.
knowing that you have an early morning, but you only give yourself a short span of time to get ready. Having
Right.
that chaotic start to your day, it does set the tone. It does kind of, it is a domino effect for certain. And it's just recently where I practiced like, oh, let me give myself additional time, like, and motivate myself, like, okay, if I wake up a little bit earlier and, I listen to my music. It takes my time to have my coffee and relax. But
Hmm.
my day, the difference is so significant. So I completely agree. It's definitely how you begin and how you start your day that sets the tone. And it could be so many things being jumped at you, but you would feel more prepared to handle it when you prioritize how you begin and start your day.
Yeah.
Um, love that response. And moving on.